What's up, fellas? Hey, hope you had a wonderful, long July 4th weekend. I certainly did, getting out of town into the mountains for a little while. But I'm home and wanted to chat about something in regards to networking. I am not a fan of networking, traditionally, right? There's a lot of good that can come from it, but I do feel like there's a lot of effort that has to be put forth to get something out of it. I don't love networking events because I also feel like, and this is a limiting belief and story I fully realize and I acknowledge, and yet I'm not willing to change it. So that being said, it's like I feel like they're kind of surface level. Like everyone is there to get something from you, and like they're just trying to see, do you have any value that they can extract? And if so, then they want your business card, your contact information. But if you don't, then they're just going to pass you by and keep looking, right? I don't like that. I don't like the idea of just looking to get. I really love to give, and I know there's other organizations, BNI and other things like that, where they're really focused on giving leads and giving connections than things like that. So, but that being said, that's a kind of a general broad approach towards networking. But the general feel of why I feel like it doesn't work for me is resonated in a book that I finished earlier this year, and I wanted to read from it real quick. Got my iPad here. It says, often in a materialistic culture such as ours, a person is valued in terms of their net worth, and an encounter is valued in terms of its networking potential. This creates a vast void in the hearts of those of us who are living in the society. For we are relating to one another as though people were objects. Our disconnectedness from one another is no small matter and must be considered when we look at how alone many of us feel and how desperately we are longing for brotherhood. It goes on to say, in his book, Ethics for the New Millennium, the Dalai Lama speaks extensively about the connection between Western culture and feelings of alienation and loneliness that are so pervasive today. Because I feel like so many guys I talk to, myself included, having been an entrepreneur for almost nearly 10 years now, like loneliness is a very, very tangible thing in my life. So it goes on to say, in his book, in place of our dependence on one another for support today, whenever possible, we tend to rely on machines and services. Whereas formerly farmers would call in all their family members to help with the harvest, today they simply telephone a contractor. We find modern living organized so that it demands the least possible direct dependence on others. The more or less universal ambition seems to be for everyone to own their own house, their own car, their own computer, and so on, in order to be as independent as possible. This is natural and understandable. The increasing autonomy that people enjoy as a result of advances in science and technology has its good points. In fact, it is possible today to be far more independent of others than ever before. But with these developments, there has arisen a sense that my future is not dependent on my neighbor, but rather on my job or at most my employer. This in turn encourages us to suppose that because others are not important for my happiness, their happiness is not important to me. And I think that's just how I feel a lot of times, is like the lack of genuine connection and like connectedness between people, especially at networking events and things like that, is palpable to me. I also feel like when I feel like someone comes from a place of giving and a place of connectedness, I immediately tend to connect with them, right? I just appreciate those values. Now, you might be different and connect with different people for different reasons, and that's totally cool. But I do love our brotherhood, and really why I've driven to create this is because for me, having been an entrepreneur for nearly a decade, man, being alone, having most of my clients being all virtual, I need that connection and that brotherhood with guys like you in the Denver area to do cool things like cattle drives, which is almost sold out, thank God, because I didn't know if I was the only one who thought that might be a fun idea, and apparently I'm not, so that's awesome. That being said, whether it be, events like the Meeting of Men, retreats that I'm, putting forth, just going out and mountain biking, hiking, doing all the fun things that we get to do here in our backyard, which is what we're so blessed to have. There's such an importance to doing valuable things other than just connecting for like business sake. Connect for the sake of your relationships, for your health. And so that's what we're going to chat about a week from tonight at our Meeting of Men event, is that sense of connection in our relationships, and not only our intimate relationships with our spouse, our partner, that sort of thing, but even between us as men, you know, your relationship to yourself, your creator, food, you know, work, fulfillment, your self-esteem. You have a relationship to all of those things, right? So we'll look forward to diving a little bit deeper on that a week from tonight this time. And hopefully you guys had a great weekend. Looking forward to catching up. And if anyone wants to grab coffee or kombucha, you know I'm game. I love the face-to-face since I've just been needing a lot of that. So looking forward to catching up, guys. We'll see you soon.